welcome to our second Top Rope Spoilers. We're still trying to figure out, we could still hear us through the thing, and why don't y'all check the sound, make sure we're actually working. Make sure they can actually hear us. Excellent, you can hear us. And if you can't hear us, you are on mute. So, we snaw. This is what we do. I get her in stitches in seconds in most circumstances. But welcome to Top Rope Spoilers for NXT Battleground this upcoming Sunday. We did Top Rope Spoilers for Night of Champions yesterday, and had a pretty decent showing. I think we're still getting used to this whole live thing, but we're trying our best. And honestly, I think we had a good time. So we're going to see how this ends up going, and then we'll find out at the end of the week if TikTok's going to let us keep doing this or not. So take advantage of it while we can. Lady, we ready to take another shot at this?
Yes.
Yep.
Let's get it.
Let's do it.
Women of few words. But first, again, like we do on all of our shows, we're going to take a quick second here. I'm going to drop off here and show you guys the scoreboard. For those who don't normally watch, we do usually have an opportunity for you guys to come and vote. If you follow us on YouTube as one of our 6 different social medias that you can follow up on. But right now, it's Kia still sporting the streak right now as she got the perfect 7 from Backlash. So currently she has the lead at 15.
Let's hope I can keep that streak going.
Alyssa sitting at 13, and then myself and you guys, the OTRA, sitting at 12 each. Still a long way to go, only 2 premium live events in. But we'll see how it goes as we begin Season 4. Alyssa holding the title right now.
I'm still wanting to know what she has planned for us since she was the victor last go-around.
I'm scared.
I'm not.
I don't know. I need ideas. Give me ideas, y'all.
She'll never tell.
Give me ideas,
She'll
y'all.
never tell.
Period.
But again, this is our preview show. We take a couple of minutes. We talk about the matches that are coming up, and then of course we give our predictions. As I said, go to our YouTube community page. You can be able to check out the opportunity to see our previews, as well as also make your own predictions. They don't go live until the bell rings for Battleground, and the match eventually begins. So plenty of time, and there's a lot that are really close right now. So some opportunities for some championship and not championship matches to flip. Depending upon how your vote goes. So, represent the OTRAs and opt to it. Either way, we'll move on to our first match here and give you the quick rundown of it, and then we're going to let the ladies talk here for a little bit because I've run my mouth already. I think I've already used my allotment of time. See, I enjoy the fact that they laugh at that. It soothes my ego, I suppose. But the first one is the only championship match of some kind. Technically, there's 4 title matches and a cup match at this particular live event. But this is the only one that is not a championship match of any kind. But it is going to have a special stipulation, and it is going to be a last man standing match between 2 of the biggest brutes in all of NXT, as the former UK champion Ilya Dragunov will go one-on-one with Dijak. A match, of course, last man standing. The only way to win, to hold your opponent down until they cannot rise up to the count of 10. This has blood and devastation written all over it.
I feel like this match is made for Ilya only because he's faced Gunter in the past.
Yeah. True,
and
beat him.
And that was a hell of a match, and both of them literally walked away busted up and bloody, but in the end, he was the ultimate victor, so I could definitely see that again.
Did what he had to do. But one of the big names that has come back since H took over and then Shawn Michaels started running NXT was Dijak, and obviously known as Dijakovic in his previous run, and he's come back with this kind of big boss man type jail persona, bringing justice to that of NXT, and yet it seems like he's really kind of hit a rotten string of luck in who he keeps ending up drawing himself up against.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this will be like one of my favorite matches to watch, just because I know they both are like really powerful in the ring, or outside of it, because it's last man standing. But no, I really look forward to seeing like what the 2 of them bring. I've also enjoyed the back and forth between the 2, kind of like how Dijak originally attacked Ilya, and then Ilya got better and was like, "All right, watch this," and then he went back and attacked him back. So I feel like there's been a good lead up to this match, and I'm excited to see how they end it.
And that's exactly it. I mean, and the one thing they've been trying to run through the first couple of NXT episodes about this is that neither one of them will stay down.
Yeah.
They've both been trapped underneath the little drop-down metal grate. They've been underneath the stairs and everything else, and yet each time they keep popping back up. And so they're really giving off the vibe that it's going to be tough to win this match, which means this could be one of the longer matches of the night and also could end up leading to a decent amount of brutality. Dragunov already proven that he's not afraid to bleed. I don't think Dijak would have a problem with it either, so this could be our gore match of the night potentially as well.
I know I did not follow when you said that.
You did. I'm talking about gazed off and everything.
Ooh, it is what it is. But you would look at a match like this and, considering the brutality of this type of match, but also considering where these two are standing in the echelon of where NXT's, male standings are right now, you would have to think the winner of this match is likely in line to be going either after the North American or potentially the NXT Championship.
I was about to say.
Whoever is able to come out on top, and maybe even the person who falls could potentially still be looking at a title match if they put on a good show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because we all know H has been real high, especially on Dijak. Obviously, was, considered strong enough that he was able to return, and even not only that, but also to return in a persona that he was used to. So we'll see how it pans out. Not really too much to say on this one. We do have a 6-minute timer. We don't sometimes use it all, but sometimes I think when we've said what we needed to say, we move on to our predictions. So Kia, you want to go prediction, or do you want to go? Got anything else to add on it first?
No, not really.
All right. Well, you got the lead, so that means you pick first.
Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and take Ilya, only because he's faced a tough opponent in Gunter, and I feel like, again, this match is made for him. I feel like he's going to get it done. Now, question is he going to bring the red eyes back, or was that just something that was meant for over there in the UK? Because I think that'd be powerful in and of itself, because it shows he's raging, but, I say Ilya.
That just works for you, right? Yeah, there we go. Now, there's her smile. See, I can get them both smiling when I need to. Alyssa, you're in second, so you're up next.
I also like Ilya going to take this match. I think I have to go him because, one, his track record. I like him with Gunter. Whenever
y'all just gonna hang the hat on that one win, right?
Yes.
Hey, that man only taking 2, but he was one of them. So it's like I can't. And then also, look, don't fact check me. It's 2, 3, same thing. Same thing. But no. In all seriousness, when the lights are bright, he handles business.
Yeah.
Dijak has been in a similar situation where he was going after the North American. He didn't get it done. So, just based on what I've seen so far, I'm going Ilya.
That's true. And both of these guys did have recently taken on Wesley as part of his open challenges. They both were part of respective championship matches against him. Both, of course, failed as Lee is defending the North American title. His match coming up here on our prediction show here in a little bit. I'm going to be the one to turn the other side, though. I'm actually going to take Dijak in this match. I think that since his return, he hasn't had that one key win. Ilya has, and Ilya also, could potentially be more in the line of the running for, potentially the Heritage Cup or something like that. Dijak, meanwhile, you brought him back, and while, yes, he's supposed to be, the big look of the company, you really have to have him in that place now with the very big surprise of Odyssey Jones getting drafted. So Dijak is kind of like your muscle man of NXT at the moment, and I think you need to get this big win. Dragunov can afford the loss because, as you both have pointed out, he can hang his hat on the Gunter win back in the UK. I just don't think that it bodes as well if you continue to keep burying Dijak under. So I'll take the upset here, if you can even call it that, especially with the type of brutality this match is going to bring.
I was about to say, the only reason why I said that was, what if he's playing a role like they had Apollo do? Come down here, bring some people up, put some folks over, and then...
That's possible, too, and that's the joy of it, And the one thing is that the main roster pay-per-views really tend to get a little more predictable, but NXT, you really don't know what's coming. You see
Either way.
you see swerves all the time. I think that's honestly why I think a lot of people do it. It's more about the competition in the ring. You see less promos, less things like that.
Less storytelling. I mean, there's enough storytelling to get the point across, but it's more fighting down in NXT.
Well, I remember when NXT was doing 1 hour shows, on the network, and there would be some nights where NXT would have more actual matches of better quality despite having less time than SmackDown or Raw would.
They really would.
It was ridiculous. But I'm glad to see that has improved somewhat, definitely. Let's go ahead and reset our clock here and move on to match number 2. So I'm going to put that back, and this is our first match that is involving a championship title here. It is for the NXT Tag Team Championships, as we will have the Gallus boys, who are currently on top with the NXT Tag Team titles, battling against former champions, the Creed brothers, Brutus and Julius. Now, the Creeds have recently had to go through their struggles. We all know about, of course, the breakup of, the women of Diamond Mine here. But ultimately, they have continued to persevere and have continued to pursue the championships. They were able to net themselves a championship match a couple of weeks ago. Ultimately, Gallus able to prevail. But now they're finally getting an opportunity to take on the Gallus boys one-on-one, who frankly have looked unstoppable since they came up from the UK.
Yeah.
Alyssa, you start this one off.
I mean, I didn't really watch UK, so Gallus was not like a group that I knew. But like you said, they really have come in and they have looked unstoppable. You add in the other Coffey brother, and it's just like, whoa, what are we going to do here? Like, who's going to take y'all on? Who's going to defeat y'all? Who's going to push y'all to y'all's limit? And I think the Creed brothers, seeing how they have been in the past, Julius in there putting his brother on the line, saving his behind, and all that. So, as brothers, they'll work together well. Then you have the other brothers on the other side, you want to tag them, but we're going to mind our business. But it's like, I feel like this would be a good match, and that's all I really got to say about all that. Yeah.
As far as Julius and his brother, I feel like there's just chemistry. I feel like, to me, I feel like they're the Usos. I feel like they're technically the Usos, the Bellas, whoever has a brother or a sister that they work with, and they can work in the ring and out of the ring. I feel like it's well played, well versed. I feel like they know each other. I feel like, hey, I know we're going to probably take this beating, but at least we're going to take it together and we'll learn from it, and it'll put us over and it'll help us to correct what we need to have corrected and fix what we need to have fixed. And it doesn't matter who they go up against. You have to think Brutus and his brother, I never remember the other name, Julius. I just feel like this is a match that's fit for them. I feel like it works well. Don't get me wrong, I don't got nothing against Gallus. I feel like those guys are extremely tough, extremely strong. But I feel like for me, and it's opinionated, so don't take this to heart, I feel like Julius and Brutus will literally get the job done, and I feel like there's no one that could stop them. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter who's on the other side, Gallus or not.
Right, and the one thing is you can say about this whole situation is the fact that the Creeds, despite losing their locker room leader per se in Roderick Strong, we all know his story at this stage, and then of course the breakup of the women of their side, they have kind of had to play that peacemaker amongst their group, very similar to what you've seen with the storyline of Brooks and Jensen.
Yeah.
Or Briggs and Jensen, excuse me. And you want to root for them, you want to give them that push, but it just doesn't feel like the hype is quite as there as it was, say, maybe a year ago, right even towards the tail end of their championship and their first run to try to get it back. It really did seem like they were destined for that big push, and I feel like they've kind of lost a little bit of that momentum. Now, on the flip side, you've got the champions, Gallus. You mentioned the brothers of Julius and Brutus who have tagged with each other. Well, they got a brother combination over there as well in Joe and Mark Coffey. And so you're still playing with that familial game as well. And it's not like Gallus has come in and just taken on whomever happens to stand. They've challenged them all. You look at Creed several times. Dyad, Briggs and Jensen when they were still, together before the whole breakup thing. You name it, Gallus has been willing to say, look, step up. Now, the one wild card to all of this, before we get to our predictions, is, of course, the recent detainment of the Don, who, of course, was originally supposed to be the Don and Stax that were supposed to be getting this title shot, and it was originally supposed to be a triple threat, but in the end, the Don, maybe a little false statements or a little bit of trickery involved, but ultimately Stax offering to be in the corner to try to keep one of the Coffey brothers out of play. The Creeds at the moment have declined that offer for the moment, but don't be surprised if Stax doesn't show up in this match to try to see if he can help the Creeds, because obviously he's well aware that Gallus is behind it, and I don't even think they've tried to hide it either. So we do move us to our predictions. This, of course, is a championship match. Standard, we got to win by pinfall or submission for a championship to change hands. Alyssa, you'll go first on this one. Which way are you leaning?
I mean, they've been dominant the entire time. I'm going to have to go with Gallus. They've been... Well, I mean... Yeah, I'm sticking with Gallus. I'm sorry.
I'm going Gallus as well. I was behind Gallus when they first got here. Obviously, I think I'm the one person of the three of us that was, slightly more versed in the UK days. I know Kia's watching. Yours was minimal. Yours was whatever we talk about, I suppose.
Mine was absolute
0. But at the end of the day, they've done exactly what you expect them to do. They've come in and they've powerhoused their way through and have won the championship gold that I think everyone expected them to do when they got here. But this may be the toughest test they're going to face. But at the same time, they always seem like they come ready to, of course, their background provides them with always the want to have a fight. I feel like you could pair them with the Brawling Brutes as soon as they get called up, and that is an easy faction to put together, and they would enjoy themselves. The comedy they could put in the Irish pubs would would just be magnificent. But I like Gallus. I don't think they're run-ins here.
I mean, for me, I'm not going to go against what y'all say. Nothing against the Creed brothers, because I feel like, again, they're strong and they're tough and they have that familiarness with one another, but I feel like Gallus hasn't lost. I don't see them losing. It's just like the whole Roman Reigns story. I don't see him losing. I feel like they're going to do whatever they can. I feel like they're going to do whatever they need to get what they need to get done, and they're going to retain these titles. So
they have that third person in their corner and everything.
Exactly.
So
you got what you need to be the dominant team, and they also can play the role of both. They'll be a heel in this one, but they've played the face role too. When you took on teams like the Dyad and Schism. So they can play both roles and do so well by simply just being them. And honestly, those teams are the ones that you really have an easy time getting behind.
Yeah.
So let's move us on to our third match of this one. This one is our oddball of the ones because it's going to be for the very first time an opportunity to see the Heritage Cup actually making its NXT America debut, as Noam Dar is going to defend the NXT Heritage Cup in a match against the newcomer Colossus and Dragon Lee. Yeah. Now, Lee has come in and absolutely taken the entire division by storm. He has just, he hasn't won like any championships yet, but the fact is every single time you see him in a match, it is exciting. You are thrilled to see it because you're about to see something special at the end of the day. And I'm going to try to see if I can squeeze this thing in here. There we go. I'm going to try to move it here. Hey, this is what happens when you do things live is, sometimes it doesn't quite pan out the way you think it's going to, but looks like it's a little tall there. So we're just going to leave it right there, because that's the best I can do. Right there, whatever. Anywho, so because of the rules of the Heritage Cup, the American audience is going to have to get a little more familiar with it here. But, your boy gave you the easy version here and took the time to create the rules.
Right.
Very, very simple, very straightforward. But this is what they would call British rounds rules, which is essentially the matches are 6 3-minute rounds with 20 seconds in between each round. Okay. You can only win a fall or win a round by tie, pinfall, submission, or countout. The entire match is 2 out of 3. If no one scores a fall during that 3-minute period, then just no one picks up a point for that particular match. Now, in the event that a person gets knocked out, or if there is a disqualification, the match in its entirety ends immediately with the person that is on the right end of the fall winning the match. There is no champion's advantage in a British rounds match. So Dar cannot go out and get himself intentionally disqualified to retain his championship and his cup. And at the end of 6 completed rounds, if it goes the distance, then whoever is ahead on points in the terms of the number of falls is declared the winner and the Heritage Cup holder. In the event of a tie, the champion retains. So Dar can potentially run out the clock if he happens to be tied or ahead after 5, because if you're ahead, let's say 1-0 heading to the last round, then Lee understands he's got to knock him out in order for him to win it, because he can't win by the falls at that point. So this is going to be new to the American audience here, so giving every opportunity for it to be something to where both sides are going to be able to display the talents that they have at their disposal. We've seen little of Dragon Lee up to this point, but the stuff we have seen has been absolutely spectacular.
Oh, absolutely.
You can build up that he's going to be one of the big names, very similar to what you could say of Finn Balor when he first got here, Shinsuke Nakamura when he got here. Dragon Lee has all of those same capacities, same capabilities. Now, don't sleep on Noam Dar either. The fact is, he's won this cup twice, and that doesn't happen by accident because he is very familiar with the British round rules, and it's, to me, kind of neat that they're willing to take something from the UK version of NXT and bring it here to America and let, I don't know if this is going to be a throw it against the wall and see if it sticks or what will happen, but I'm certainly interested to see how the American audience, especially with a live crowd, because British rounds, when they were competing them in the UK, of course, was done in empty arenas. Now you're going to get a chance with a live crowd to see how they're going to bring things, and be interesting to see how this pans out. So, new rules, new everything else, it's all new, so I'm just opening the floor for each of you to give your thoughts on what you think, maybe necessarily about the match or about either of the individuals.
I like Dragon Lee. I think he's come in and he's shown what he could do. He's not afraid to back down from a challenge. He's not afraid to back down from anyone at any time. If there's a challenge that's laid out, you could see him coming out most definitely. His entrance is very interesting. He reminds
Catch me in the pit.
His entrance is like, if you had to ask me, probably my tops in NXT as far as males go. And the last time I think I could say that, it was Shinsuke Nakamura's theme. So that's a tough thing to kind of follow. You have to think also Noam Dar has had this cup for almost 2 years.
He's had it for almost 2 years. Granted,
now.
he's gained the benefit of not having to defend it in any way. So, he holds that advantage. But there were a lot of people during the pandemic who benefited from that. And then, of course, his is a result of just the UK brand being disbanded.
I just feel like he's gonna he knows the rules. He's gonna know what to do, what not to do. He's going to be able to come in and yes, he's gonna have that advantage because he's had the cup for 2 years. And when they were showing it in the UK on the network, he was probably the one that always had the advantage. Dragon Lee, I'm not saying doesn't have the advantage. I'm just saying Noam's going to already have that head start, and you're going to have to come in and take that cup from him. Because like he stated, this is his cup, and he's not giving it up by no means.
I will say I'm excited to see the actual... What is this?
British rounds. Or Heritage Cup, if you will.
Yeah, I was about to say, is it technically a match?
It's technically a match of its own. It just has a unique rule set.
I was going to say, I'm excited to see it because this will be my first one. So I'm excited to see, the differences, between, what you would normally see with an NXT PLE. So I'm excited to see the whole British round thing, I want to see if they're going to be bold and be like, "Ooh, just go ahead and knock him out." Yeah, there's no discussion here. But also I look forward to seeing more from Dragon Lee because, again, you've only seen him a couple of times, but every time We've seen him. He has put on a show.
Yeah.
So I absolutely look forward to it.
And the one thing I'll say about British rounds is this one kind of becomes more of a strategy and a thinking person's game. Because you only have X amount of time in each round, and you only have X number of rounds. You also have to be careful, not to get yourself disqualified, because that ends the entire match completely. And again, you remove that whole idea that, Dar can just go out and intentionally get himself disqualified to help hold the cup. No, you lose the cup by DQ in British rounds rules, so there is no champion's advantage other than the fact that he would retain in the event of a draw.
No.
So, there's only been, I think, 6 or 7 of these since the cup was created. Of course, all of them in the UK brand. So this will be America's first look at it, unless you did watch UK, which, I prided myself on doing so for a little while. So, it's fun. It's definitely unique. But also, as the match goes along, you'll see a little bit of strategy. Also, the 2 out of 3 falls concept allows you to make one slip, and be able to kind of, be able to get away with it, potentially, as long as you're smart about it.
I was going to say, what would qualify as a DQ? Like, what would...
Anything that would end a match by disqualification under standard rules. A person comes out and interferes on behalf. You use a weapon.
I don't know if it'd be different.
All these are standard, standard wrestling rounds, just as it would be on a standard match. But this will not be a match that is set for 1 fall. Not this time. So we do move to our predictions. The uniqueness of the rules does, I think, benefit Noam Dar. However, I think you need to give that direct push to a guy like Dragon Lee. He's got all the momentum in the world behind him right now. So I really do feel like to captivate that American audience and also to really set the cup as something that you want to go fight for, I think putting it on an exciting guy like Dragon Lee, who maybe could defend it, every couple of weeks, will certainly bring a new air to NXT and something unique. So I'm going to go with Dragon Lee to win this, and I'm actually going to go for the full shutout. I'm going 2-0. Yeah?
I feel like Noam's had it for, like I said, 2 years, and it hasn't been defended. I feel like Noam has been kind of arrogant and mouthy and voiced his opinion on, hey, this is my cup. No one's going to be able to take it from me. And I feel like with all that coming out and the way that it's come out and the manner that it has, I feel like Dragon Lee's going to make him eat his words and regret that he even said that by taking that cup. And so for me, I would have to say Dragon Lee would actually take the cup from Noam, leaving him high and dry and miserable.
Like Alicia did.
That's right.
couldn't
pass it up,
handle
could you?
the ebony goddess herself. Look at the shock look. She thinks I won't go there. I'll go there. Alyssa, where are you heading with this one?
No, I really don't know. Because you have experience on one side and you have the non-experience, but the good push on the other. So it's like... Bump it. Y'all ain't leaving me. I'm taking Dragon Lee too.
You ain't leaving me.
Y'all ain't leaving me.
Goodness gracious. Okay.
Yeah, all right. Sorry.
All right, so Dragon Lee across the board for all of us. And as I said, I wouldn't be shocked if they have Dar do it, but I think if you, very similar to what Night of Champions is about to do with the World Heavyweight title, I think if you're going to have its first showing, you got to put on something that people are going to talk about, people that are going to be exciting. Lee and Dar are both great competitors in the ring. I don't think you're going to have to worry about the in-ring performance portion of it. I think it's just going to be once it's over and whoever walks out with it, I think plays a major role in how it's going to be viewed going forward.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that, you put on a good opportunity and whatnot. So that moves us into our next match, which is for the North American Championship over to Alyssa's left, which I guess is left on your side too. This is our only multi-man match of the entire, or multi-person match of the entire Premium Live event, as it will be a triple threat match for the North American Championship. I'll need to slide that on over here. Again, you do things live. This is what you get, but we'll put that under there. That looks nice and pretty. So this is Wes Lee, who it seems like we just keep saying it over and over and over that he just continues to just keep shining and keep being, an absolutely fantastic competitor as a person who we weren't sure what they were going to do when Nash Carter was released almost 2 years ago. And all he's done is flourished, and was, in Rookie of the Year conversations, in NXT Superstar of the Year contention. He didn't just get over. He got over strong and has earned the right to be here. And then his storyline of being a fighting champion, I'll stand out here, and whoever gets to the ring first, I'll fight them. I don't care who shows up. And he's beaten some of the best, including both of the people that he'll be facing in this triple threat in this one, as he will face big, strong boy Tyler Bate. Exactly, as well as the leader of Schism, Joe Gacy. So, ladies, I hand it to you. Let's discuss Wesley first. Alyssa, we'll turn to you. Your thoughts on just Wesley and what he has come through since having to go from tag team to singles, and how has he been able to flourish so easily?
I just think it's his drive. He's passionate. I like that he puts himself out there. He doesn't care who's on the other side. He doesn't care what y'all talk about. He don't care if it involves ladders, tables. He doesn't care about any of that.
Oh my.
Exactly. But no, Jesus. But no, I like that he puts his title out there and he's like, and I'm gonna get it back. So watch this.
Somebody come take this from me.
High flying, high energy, always fun to watch. He's one of my favorite people to watch compete. So I'm just glad that he's able to take, again, losing his partner and just being like, you know what? That's fine. Watch this. Hold my beer. Let me show y'all what I got. As far as Tyler Bate and Gacy go, I think this will probably be one of his toughest challenges. Just because the way those two have been firing, like the last little interaction we saw in the NXT the other night, I was just like, wow. Like, Gacy came out of nowhere.
Sounded like me yesterday.
I know.
Yeah.
Gacy came out of nowhere, and I was just like, oh, wow. Like, I feel like I'm seeing a different side. Maybe it's because I don't really pay attention to him like that, but, like, because his smile be freaking me out, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. I said what I said. But no, I just feel like this will probably be one of his toughest challenges, but I don't doubt him. I think he's going to be just fine.
Okay. Kia, your thoughts on Lee and his run, as well as his two challengers for this one?
So, y'all know I like Wesley. I've literally been riding the Wesley train.
Wonder why.
I swear to God, if this man says I actually like him for the title, I've liked him way before the title. I felt like when he was tagging with his partner, I felt like he was good. They were fun to watch, but now that he's separated, he's on his own, he's doing his thing. Close your eyes.
I'm gonna try. She's gonna grab the mouse and turn off the camera here.
Turn off camera.
No, but in all retrospect, I feel like Wesley, like Alyssa said, I'm going to come piggyback off that. He's energetic in and out of the ring. I love the fact that he could cut a good promo. He's not afraid of nothing, no one. He actually is coming out here to defend his title, and you can't turn away. His entrance is catchy. His theme is catchy. The way he does what he does is catchy, and it's just like, who's going to stop him? Like, the only person that could stop him would be him. And it's nothing against, like, big strong boy with the nice legs and, like, old creepy dude with, like, the creepy smile. I'm sorry, Joe Gacy, if I'm correct, I'm sorry. I don't feel, like, this is his toughest challenge, you're right. But everything said, I don't feel like he's going to back down from that. I think, if anything, that's going to give him the drive and the motivation to say, hey, okay, y'all think y'all can come after my title and take it? No, you're wrong. And if it had to get taken, I feel like, what's his name? I can't think of his name right now. Pretty hair, Mustache Mountain, half of one Mustache Mountain.
Bate?
Yes, I'm sorry. Like, my mind is so gone right now. I feel
this
like...
is why we don't do things late at night.
I feel like Bate is going to actually show up to compete, because if we looked at NXT and we see how Bate looked at him as Wesley was walking away, that tells you everything you need to know. He's coming, and he means business.
Well, at the same time, I think right now there's still the real question in Lee's mind as to, did you get close to me, defend me, have my back? Was it truly because you wanted to be friends, wanted to be, colleagues, teammates, or is it just because you wanted to get close to the gold? And, everybody knows, the lineage that Tyler Bate comes with. He's won the United Kingdom title twice and went toe-to-toe with Breaker, before dropping it to him ultimately when the titles were unified. So he's absolutely no slouch, a Heritage Cup winner himself. And then we all know what Gacy brings, especially in the triple threat mentality, that Schism can 100% get involved in this without any consequences to Gacy. So we've got about 30 seconds here. We're going to have to jump real quick into this, but Kia, you open up the picks on this one. Who's walking out with the North American?
Wesley's going to retain. I'm not changing my vote. I'm going to ride that train until the wheels fall off.
Choo-choo.
Choo-choo!
I also like Wesley to retain. I feel like when he loses, it's going to be a one-on-one type thing. I can't see him taking it, out of here. This man has fought 2, 3, 4, 5, all in one. No.
This man has heart.
He takes advantage.
He has.
And for those exact reasons is exactly why I think he will drop the title in this particular live event, because I don't think there's anyone that's going to match his heart in a one-on-one match. So with that being said, I know I'm going to be the one jumping off the deep end here, but I'm actually going to go Joe Gacy to win this match and win his first championship. Schism has been the one riding those rocky rails right now. It was a group that looked like they could be at the level of, say, Undisputed Era or, one of those larger factions in NXT, and it just hasn't, blossomed into what you want it to be. But this is the perfect scenario. You've got the champion and one of the challengers that right now just can't see eye to eye and can't trust each other. So you don't know if you can trust him. You don't know if you can believe him. And then at the same time, the ability for Schism and the Dyad to be able to get involved in this match with no consequences. It seems like Joe Gacy has this scenario exactly right where he wants it. It is the perfect time and a ripe opportunity for the apple to be plucked from the Schism tree, if you will. I like Joe Gacy winning the North American Championship here.
But does he have heart? Does he have fight? Does he have spunk?
He doesn't need it. He has Ava, and that's all he needs. Take that for what it's worth.
All right. Let's move on to the next match, please.
We got 2 left, but it's getting interesting. At least we're having a little bit of dynamic in this one. Anybody who watched our show yesterday knows we hardly pick different on anything.
They were my twin.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it is. It is. So let's move into our co-main event. Our first one. This is the finals of the Women's Championship Tournament that was started a few weeks ago. Ultimately, we are down to our final 2 competitors to decide the winner of the now vacated NXT Women's Championship, vacated by the departing Indy Hartwell due to both a combination of an ankle injury and being drafted. So, congratulations to Indy Hartwell. Hey, a proud champion, even if it was just for a little bit of time. I know we hooped and hollered walking out of that meet and greet with the Usos when she managed to get it done. So we're proud of you and hope for nothing but the best for you when it comes to your time on the main roster. But as such, the world must proceed on, and as a result, we do need a new NXT Women's Champion, and that is where this match is going to ultimately decide who that next champion is going to be, as the 2 finalists are Lyra Valkyria battling against Tiffany Stratton. Now, I think it's safe to say that all of the women in the tournament were all deserving of being champion. There was only one former champion in the bracket, that being Roxanne Perez. And the fact is, you're guaranteed a first-time champion in this match, regardless of who is the victor in this one. Both have had their rivalries with others that either they've been able to take advantage of the situations and get past them, or they've managed to be able to navigate their way through the trials and tribulations. But the fact is, every single person in the tournament needed 3 wins to get to the championship, and each of these 2 are the only ones that have taken the first 2 up to this point. So now they go head-to-head. We have to question Lyra's status with Cora Jade's attack on her after the match is over. So from a physical standpoint, I do feel like Tiffany's going to go in with the advantage. But both of these women definitely set up to be NXT Women's Champion. So now the question is, which way do we want to lean? We'll start with Kia on this one. Your thoughts on the tournament as well as your 2 finalists.
The tournament was great. I'm glad to see. I was glad to see it again. I feel like all the women across the board, SmackDown, NXT, and Raw, they keep shattering these glass ceilings that it's put in front of them, and this is no different. As far as the competitors to like right here, the two right here, I like one and I do not like the other, and I don't think that's been a mystery. I feel like Tiffany is full of herself. I mean, I get it, you want to be your own hype person because nobody's going to hype you up better than you, but you need to get yourself a bestie, girl, because all this rudeness and meanness ain't working for you. As far as Lyra, if I pronounce her name correctly, I love her. I think, first of all, I love the accent. Second of all, I feel like, injury or no injury, I feel like this girl is going to soar, she's going to fly. She's injured, but you cannot keep her down. I feel like this injury is going to fuel her to take that title and walk proudly with it. Again, Tiffany is glitz, glamour, I'm my own hype woman, but I feel like she's arrogant and she's full of herself, and I don't think that's going to work in winning a title if you have the talk, but do you have the game?
And I think that's been Tiffany's standpoint the entire time, has been that, hey, I've always been the best. I've been the strongest woman everywhere I've gone. I've been the best, and if I'm not the best, I will, either earn the best or buy my way to being the best. One of the two, her original persona being, hey, daddy got me here. But, she's proven her athletic prowess, in the ring. Lyra has definitely a more unique standpoint in her wrestling style, but we move to Alyssa here. In terms of just each of their journeys here, what is your thoughts on eventually, on Sunday, one of these two is going to be holding gold for the first time?
Well, I will say, as much as I don't like Tiffany, I will say she's a great heel.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, she makes me, I cannot stand her.
So as those camera bulbs start going off.
I'm telling you, I'm like, am I going to see that right here? Like, please don't play with me. Like, what's going on? But, no, like, I feel like she has the whole heel persona down. So, it works for her. She's great at it. She takes people off everywhere she goes. Hey, all power to you, girl. As far as Lyra goes, I like her. She's like a heart pick, She's done well. I hate that Cora had to sit there and do the little low blow junk. Like, after their match. Like, you lost. Get over and walk out. But, we don't have business. Pro bars are for people. What?
Huh?
Pro bars are for people. Yeah, right. But anyway,
Oh my goodness.
all I'm saying is she went in with her fist and she had to pull out her fist. But anyway, so, yeah, I mean, I feel like from the initial standpoint, I remember we were doing the math, like, on each side. Like, once we saw the final forward, we were just like, okay, well, if Cora goes through, we know we're getting Roxanne. And if Tiffany goes through, then we know we're getting Lyra. So I feel like it was really nice to see our guests go through. And
So I thought there was a decent amount of swerve, though, because to me, I think of the final four, I think Lyra was the one that I think most people had the least odds of getting through. Because I think a lot of people just speculated that it was going to be Cora's time, it was going to be Cora's moment, because Roxanne has gotten multiple moments up to this point. And so you're wondering, when does Cora get that moment, especially when you gave her the great promo of essentially shooting down the entire women's locker room in one swoop. So essentially, and it was Lyra that answered that call. And at the end of the day, she's laughed most recently, but it may be Cora who laughs last, especially if along the way she cost Lyra a chance at the championship.
yeah.
And I think you hit the nail on the head perfectly, that Tiffany is playing the heel role perfectly. You see when you hear her entrance come out, but I don't think anyone can argue the athletic prowess she has in the ring. And the fact is, she's won her first two matches cleanly. So she's still finding a way to make the championship title relevant, even if she's doing it as a heel.
You know what? You're right. I'll give her that. She's very athletic and she's a good heel. I mean, like, you don't hear any silence, which no wrestler, superstar, male
That's
or
the noise
female,
you don't want to hear.
don't want to ever hear. But to kind of backtrack in the promo that Cora did, that promo, when I was sitting there listening to it, reminded me of AJ Lee when AJ Lee was dissing all the women in the locker room, saying, you can't lace up my Chuck Taylors.
It's not just us, right? I mean, you look at Cora Jade. Don't tell me that if AJ and Paige, you fuse them together, you wouldn't end up with Cora Jade. Just I can't be the only one saying this, right?
You're not.
Please somebody back us up on this. Timer's already gone off. Alyssa, you're up first. Quick pick. Who you got? Who's winning the women's title?
I hate to say it, but I think it's going on Tiffany.
Stratton?
Yeah.
I'm going Tiffany as well. I think that they've set the tone for Lyra to try to have that Herculean-esque effort, but I do think that, even if Cora has to come out one more time, it's Stratton's moment. This is, I think, where you've set things up, and I think this is where it happens. I like Tiffany winning it.
Girl, bye, girl. Bye, girl, bye. No, Tiffany's not winning it. I feel like even though Lyra is hurt, she's going to take it. I feel like Roxanne has been the person that has spoken on literally the behalf of, I feel like, Lyra, in my opinion. And y'all all say that Cora Jay's going to come out and interfere. Why not be Roxanne coming out to interfere to help Lyra? Because you have to understand,
Respect factor. That's a good thought.
Roxanne has no love lost for Tiffany to start with. So I feel like my pick, and I'm taking differently, will be Lyra. I just feel like that injury and everything that she comes with, I feel like it's going to... I think I'm doing it correct, right?
Close enough.
Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. I feel like Lyra's going to take the title.
I like it. A little bit of disparity on our couch here. We need to name the couch. We need to give it a name of some kind. But either way,
I got a name for it, but not now.
We're still on our trial period. We have to be careful with what we choose to name it. But let's move to our last match, and it's the rematch. Everyone. This has been what NXT has been talking about. We know exactly what these are the top two, and we've been saying it for months. These are the two top dogs, if you will, in NXT. It's Bron Breakker and him, Carmelo Hayes, currently holding the NXT Championship, and they will battle each other again in Lowell for the NXT Championship. Now, Carmelo ultimately, with maybe a bit of an unintended assist from Trick Williams, ultimately finally able to accomplish the goal that he had set out over 18 months before to complete. He ends the year-long run of Bron Breakker and captures the NXT Championship to the absolute love and joy of us in Los Angeles. I love his Carmelo Hayes Laker-esque logo as well, so I thoroughly enjoy that. I'll be curious to see if they're going to give him, because he always gets a fun entrance whenever they're at the premium live events. But it's not his first title defense. He has defended against Grayson Waller before he got called up. But he wanted Breakker. He asked for Breakker. And originally Breakker blew him off. He said, that championship was a weight hanging around my head and a nuisance I don't want. And now, because Carmelo just couldn't let it go, he couldn't just take his win and go, he eventually drug Bron back into it, and now not just Bron, but a very dangerous heel Bron, who frankly has been running through everybody and everything since he got this very dark mean streak that he's on. We obviously, anyone who has watched history knows how just very powerful and very cunning and devastating the Steiner brothers were when they were in their wrestling heyday, and it's clear that the apple didn't fall far from the tree with Bron Breakker here. So Carmelo, I worry, especially with Trick not being allowed to help in this particular match, he's got to find a way to take out a very determined Bron Breakker one-on-one. This is going to be tough for him.
Well, as he says, he shoots his shot, he never misses. I don't think that's going to be any different. He's called out Bron. He's literally lured him out, did whatever he had to do to get him out here. Yes, Bron is a very, very, very dangerous man. And with that being said, I don't think it's going to be any different. I think if he's called his shot, he's going to actually go for it. And I feel like, in my opinion, I feel like he's going to be victorious. Now, could Bron literally break him in half in the process? I feel like he could. And I really don't want to see that. So, yeah.
Well, Bron's actually sitting here with an opportunity to try to make a little bit of history. There has been no one in NXT who has held the championship 3 times. It's happened with the North American, but it's never happened with the NXT title. So Bron Breakker, if they decide they want to swing it back onto his side and let the heel persona now have a chance to hold the championship, you've got a chance for Bron Breakker to be the one to set the tone. And then you can even start with that mindset of, I'm the only 3-time champion. I'm the greatest NXT champion ever. And, he's got the accolades and the matches in his repertoire to back it up. You look at some of the people he's beaten over his time. He's beaten Grayson Waller multiple times. He beat Carmelo Hayes previously before this one. You look at Apollo, Tyler Bate, of course, winning it from Ciampa himself, Mr. Black and Gold himself, to start this whole thing. And then, of course, winning it back from Dolph Ziggler. We talked about Ilya's big win over Walter, now Gunther. Well, Bron's got a win over Gunther, and that's that back then, I recall, that was Gunther's last loss. So this is, no slouch we're talking about here. But Carmelo has, despite the fact that he's been speared out of his shoes a number of times, he seems like he's still walking in confident that he knows something the rest of us don't, and that he's not letting that goal go.
I was going to say, I feel like there's a factor of, like, how do I say this? I feel like he just gets knocked down and he just adapts. Like, him and Trick, like, both of them, yes, they get speared out of their shoes, but they also come right back up. You get speared through the wall, I got right back up. I got speared through the ropes, got right back up. So it's like, I feel like, yes, he has his work cut out for him, but I feel like if there's anybody who's going to be able to take that shot, and especially when he's the one that asks for it, you know, it'd be different if Bron was like, "Oh,
well, he's not okay with the asterisk next to his win at Stand and Deliver. He wants to know 100% that he can beat Bron Breakker on his own. Because say what it is, but Trick had multiple levels of involvement, and whether Carmelo fully took advantage of it is up to him, but you can tell he's not okay with it.
Yeah.
He wants that asterisk off the record books. He wants to know that he is the better man over Bron Breakker, because again, Bron originally didn't want this, and now you drug him back in, so this has slugfest written all over it. And, I worry about, Carmelo and his mindset, especially after taking multiple spears. We all know his midsection's not ready. He's also angry because Bron tore up his barbershop. So, that didn't settle well with him. But, inevitably, as both of you have pointed out and alluded to already, he's called a shot. And when Melo shoots, he typically don't miss. Put it on a t-shirt. I'm pretty sure it already says that. So I'll open up our voting here on our last match for the Double Premium Live Event Weekend. It's going to be one of those Gargano-Ciampa type of rivalries where you're just going to see them bring the best out of each other, because we saw the fantastic match they put on at Stand and Deliver, and now they've got to take it to that next step. And I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see one more during SummerSlam weekend. But that being said, the run can't end here. You waited a year and a half for Melo to get this run. He finds a way past him. Carmelo, don't miss again. Hayes retains.
I stated my thoughts when I said it. Again, he's shooting his shot. He doesn't miss, and you have to think it was hard to get on this train. But now that I'm on it, I don't see myself jumping off anytime soon. And the only way that would happen is if he was called to main roster, and then at that point, it is what it is. Again, Bron said this was a nuisance, it was a burden, he didn't want it, so forth, so on. And I feel like in the back of his mind, he still feels the same way. So my pick is Carmelo Hayes.
Okay.
I also like Carmelo Hayes to retain, but it's because leading up to it, Bron has all the momentum. And again, I feel like Carmelo is just over there like, you know what? That's fine. Let me just go ahead and take my notes. And you want to put in my barber shop?
I feel like he's got receipts coming.
Receipts are coming, baby.
Oh, yeah. The receipts are absolutely there. And
please.
Carmelo is definitely the kind of guy that he doesn't forget those types of things.
Mm-hmm.
So,
the barbershop, and it was personal at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I'm looking forward to it, and there are some folks that, especially when you have the double live event weekends, everybody, of course, with respect, the main roster one is usually the one that gets the highlights and it gets, the glamour, the press, etc. But it's always, to me, been the NXT live events that always seem to be the ones that I end up remembering in the end, because you can feel that excitement level that you just don't feel on the main roster. So I'll present to both of you the same question as we wrap things up here. what is the one thing you want to see when you're watching Battleground? What's something you want to see? We're just going to go into the impression there's a lot of things they want to see, and they're trying to limit it with down to one.
Literally.
I want to see the high-powered, high-flying, high-energy, the spunk, the ferocity, the fierceness, the on both sides of the men and the women. I just want to see. Now, I want to see my champions retain, but I also want to see like new champions being named. I want to see the entrances. I want to see the themes. I want to see how they're going to come out. I want to know what they're going to wear, and I just want to see it all. You have to think NXT. Anytime you look at it, NXT is always the PLE that you look forward to, and it's nothing against the main roster folks. It's just NXT brings the smoke, they bring the heat, they bring that passion. So that's what I'm looking for. Is I'm looking for passion this weekend.
Wonderful.
I look forward to seeing the Heritage Cup match the most because, again, it'll be my first one, so I'm excited to kind of see the differences there and also see Dragon Lee again because he's really been something to look forward to.
Right.
Also is, so.
Well, you'll get a chance to see it there as well. And at the end of the day, I alluded to it earlier. It's the idea of NXT getting an opportunity to go virtually directly head-to-head against the main roster. And not just that, but an international level event, and yet you're going to look at an arena in Saudi Arabia that's going to hold 50,000, 60,000 people versus Lowell, Massachusetts that's only going to hold maybe 14,000 or 15,000. But yet, we've been to NXT events where it's louder in the NXT arena than it is at any site not named WrestleMania or Backlash. That Puerto Rican crowd was loud. So I'm very excited to see the NXT roster do what it does best, and that is not just put out good performances in front of that live audience, but also at the same time show that passion and that heart for people who aspire to one day get that trip to Saudi Arabia, to get that trip to London, to get that trip to Puerto Rico, and of course, inevitably to the Big Four and WrestleMania. This is what they all want. That's the dream of everyone. And if you're not, to paraphrase Age, why are you here? If your goal is not to be the WWE champion or the Raw Women's champion, SmackDown Women's champion, whatever, get out. The door's over there. Why are you here? If your goal is not to be the world champion, anything less, you don't need to be here. So, I think that's what always has captivated the NXT crowd is that the heart's there. They want more than this. And they show it because they understand this is where they've got to perform because the hierarchy of being not just the champion, but also the ones that the main roster and H are going to be looking at to move up to that next step. This is where you got to do it, win or lose. So, just the general excitement of a double weekend, especially, like I said, it starts at 1 o'clock on a Saturday, and then you get it all the way into Sunday night of a holiday weekend, too.
Yeah.
So, for those who do celebrate Memorial Day, thank you for, everything that you've done for us. At the same time, enjoy that federal holiday. I know we're gonna.
I'm going to be working.
But you're going to be making double time, so.
I don't know yet, but hey, who knows?
We'll see. But either way, this was Top Rope Spoilers for NXT Battleground. Again, join our community page, follow us on our social medias. Everything's right over here. But
I got a comment.
Yeah.
Have you noticed your shirt compared to our titles? It didn't click up until now. Look at your shirt and look at the two titles.
Yeah, it's Pride Month's coming up.
Well, it didn't click, but anyway, we continue.
The uniqueness of what we have here, you gotta show off, every day when you can, but at the same time, a very important month coming up for us as well. So, in the community that, gives us a chance to do this every day. So, at the end of the day, we love you guys. Continue to, support us, support WWE, support all wrestling in general, actually. And, just make sure you're staying safe out there because, hey, we want to make sure you're able to watch us next time. Parting words, anything?
Bye!
We're out.
Okay. Y'all have a good night. We'll catch you later on. Enjoy the pay-per-views.
Bye.